What's up, everybody? My name is Terrell.
I'm Tiara Leanne.
And I'm Tawan.
And you're about to be
Rewired. We want to get into our new segment, and that's the Drip Report. We just want to show y'all a little bit of who we are and what we came with today. So we're just showing y'all drip, drip, and drip.
I got drip for sale. 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 I got drip for sale.
And so y'all know that one of our missions is to change the face of mental health. So we want y'all to see mental health therapists in a whole new light and see them looking different than the way you've been used to seeing them.
Okay.
Definitely, and that's where the Rewired come in, because we want to rewire your thought process and rewire the way you are able to entertain certain things. So sometimes you can look at a person and you may not be able to judge a book by its cover. So
Right.
we wanna embody that here at Rewired.
And we want to show y'all our professional side, our casual side, and we want to show y'all that we like to drip too. You know what I'm saying? We can get saucy just on
Very
a cultural
approachable,
tip.
very approachable approach right here.
Yeah, and speaking of which, we want to introduce today our new episode. We will be talking about code switching. Do any of you want to elaborate on what is code switching?
Well, we found a clip that can do just that.
Code switching is the only way I can talk to white people so they can understand what I'm saying. Oh, okay, you want like a more official definition? Sure. Let's see. Wait a minute. Code switching. It's the gift to shift between alternate ways of communicating in languages. Here's an example of code switching. Girl, People Gas keeps sending me bills from a place I don't even live in no more. Or, yeah, I like to speak with a customer representative regarding an issue, regarding an apartment that I no longer live at, regarding me keep getting bills. I would love to hold thank you.
Hello, how are you guys doing today? Are you guys feeling good?
Oh wow, you talking different today.
No, I'm not.
You
this
don't
is
act
how
like
I
that.
always talk.
You do not act
Are
like
you
that.
serious? Are you serious? Are you freaking serious?
I have never heard you speak like this.
Well, I
Sierra.
talk like this. This is my code switching mode right now.
Okay, so you
When I'm
code
talking to the
switching.
bill collectors, I talk like that.
Do
Which
you-
I know
what?
I don't talk like that, right? Y'all know I talk like this. Sean?
So, hold on.
So you do that when the bill collectors call? You think that's gonna get that bill off your ass?
Yes. This is my ATL talk right here, Sean.
Nah, that's funny. I think it's important though to kind of know what code switching is, when it's appropriate, if it's appropriate.
Yes.
So I guess we just gonna all kind of tell the experience around that.
And a definition. So I think we all got something different from the research that we did on code switching,
Yes.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna tell my definition. My definition is kind of trying to cater the way you act and speak based on your audience. If you're in a room full of people who are not so professional, then you speak in a way that's not so professional. But if you're in a professional room, you try to pick and choose words that would be impressive to that professional crowd.
Exactly. And I would say the same. Just adapting to a situation based off the environment. So, for instance, if you're around a group of young people, you know, sometimes you want to sound a little hip. You may want to sound a little youthful.
Oh God.
You know what I mean?
God.
And not
Oh, God.
sound like you. So you just like you said, you cater it to that particular population or that particular culture instead of you being you. Now, don't get me wrong. I feel like it's nothing wrong with code switching. Just by nature, we all do it. You know? So what's your definition of code switching?
Well, code switching to me, it could take a lot of different forms. I've seen it happen where it just looked like a cleaned up, more professional version of the same person.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I don't have an issue with it. But when you change it to a whole different person,
Yeah.
because like my brother said, you trying to impress, then that's different. To
Right.
me, you are being fake and phony, and you're not being authentic to who you are. But I don't think it's nothing wrong with understanding your audience. and giving them something that they can digest.
All right.
Definitely.
For instance, like I said, I went to a predominantly white college, right? So I just remember me going to this school and I'm just around so many people that's different from me. But for some reason, I was already in everything. But for some reason, I never really switched who I was. In some settings, I switched my approach and I got a little bit more professional and I may sound a little bit more sophisticated. But just like what you said, it's okay to use code switching in that moment to make the other person feel more comfortable. You know what I'm saying? It's all for comfort. It's not about you.
Was that a huge culture shock for you going from, was your high school predominantly black?
No.
It was white? Your high school was predominantly
No,
white?
it was black. I'm sorry.
Was that a huge culture shock going from a predominantly black high school to a predominantly white college?
It definitely was. Because I feel like one thing, I feel like code switching is all about diversity, right? It's nothing wrong with diversity. It's nothing wrong with being diverse because you want to learn different things from different cultures. But one thing I learned about other cultures is they want to learn more about us and we want to learn more about them. Yeah. So if we're coming off and we're being somebody that we're not, or we're coming off more so to please them, it's kind of fake in a way because it's taken away from what their expectation is. Because some people, I have a lot of people that say, oh, I want more white friends or I want more Chinese friends. You know what I'm saying? You want that diversity in your life. So if you're switching and you're getting around these people and you're acting a certain way, that takes away from the whole ideal of diversity.
It takes away from what they can gain
exactly.
from you.
So I had to learn that instead of me being that and adapting to that, I had to back up from that and, you know what I'm saying, and be me. Because I'm here for a reason. Y'all hired me for a reason. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Y'all know I was black when I came.
Yeah.
So obviously I'm going to show up black. But like you were saying, when it comes to credibility, obviously I meet the requirements, so I don't have to switch who I am. So that's what I learned.
I had an experience early on in childhood that was code switching kind of in the opposite way that you would think about it. I think from when you initially think about code switching, I had to code switch with my own folks, my own people, because everybody in my household was from up north. They had a little bit different dialect than my friends down south. So when I was around my friends, I felt like I had to talk a little bit blacker.
How do up north? Because I'm from up north. How we talk?
You still sound like an up north person, but you don't sound like an Atlanta person or a Memphis person. Them people that I grew up with,
y'all country
they thought
down here.
we talked like straight up Poindexter.
Y'all
But so at one point I thought I might be shy or quiet, but I wasn't shy or quiet. I just didn't want nobody talking about the way I talk, so I just didn't say much.
Right.
Which was crazy that I had to kind of code switch around my own people.
That's so crazy. That's funny that you said that because through my research, I was looking at W.E.B. Du Bois talk about double consciousness. And he was basically talking about how a black man has to live his life as two people, a man, an American, and then an African American, because those are two totally different roles. You know what I'm saying? And the only way that you can reach your potential is to kind of master both roles and not kind of lean one way or the other.
That's exactly what I was saying.
But another thing that he said too is that most black people have two traumatic experiences in their life. Like it's most of the time people can tell you the moment that they realized they was black and the moment that they realized that might be a disadvantage for them going forward.
Ooh, then it turned into the what?
Yeah.
The Oreo.
The Oreo.
Have you ever heard of the Oreo?
And let me tell y'all the time that came to mind. And when I was looking at this research, it was like the very first time I realized that being black and being myself could be of detriment to me going forward. I had a teacher in 8th grade pull me to the side and was like, you know what? You got the highest grade in my class. And I was like, not surprised because I do this. You know what I'm saying? Like I make good grades. So she was like, so why do you speak like that? Your dialect doesn't reflect your intellect.
Ooh,
and I remember that, bro, like it was yesterday. I was 13 years old. And I told myself, it just meant that you should speak like the other people who have A's in my class, which is the white kids. You know what I'm saying? Like, you sound like the black kids, but you making white kid grades. So how are you able to do that?
Right.
That's basically what that meant. So at that point at 13, I made up my mind that I'm going to have credentials. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to have something behind my name to where I don't have to switch up. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to do something totally different that's outside of me in order to be credible.
Right, and that's what I wanted to hit on is your point about W.E.B. Du Bois' book on double consciousness, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's one thing to be conscious, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're supposed to always be aware of how you're being perceived by the people that's hearing you.
Mm-hmm.
It's another thing to go outside of yourself because of that consciousness. You know what I'm saying? So because you know this person is looking at you a certain type of way, now you're doing stuff that's outside of what your skill set is, and now you look worse than if you would have just been who you are, i.e. I don't think yeah, you could.
And not saying that this is the thing, because I like I said, I'm not totally against code switching because by nature we all do it. Whether you are talking to a professional, whether you are in a setting where you in a hood, or you talking to somebody black like yourself, or you talking to somebody Asian or persuasion, whatever the case may be.
Not the persuasion.
But this is the thing. I feel like it's only a problem when you continue to be conditioned like this and you go on and your personality become condemned and become this permanent, you know, switch up.
Yeah.
That's a problem for me. Because I hear a lot of people, they're just like, hey, hi, oh my God, like, girl, you know you don't talk like that.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Here's the thing that, and this is just my personal opinion, because somebody told me earlier today that if they couldn't see me, they would think I was white. Just the way I talk. I don't know why, but
Talk white.
I didn't think so, but you know, I'm cool with you having that perspective.
You talk professional, you talk educated, and that's the thing that we have to normalize with black people.
Oh, that's the rewire right
You
there.
heard?
Exactly.
You don't have to always sound
Like
you ain't
race.
never read a book to have some swag and some, you know,
sophistication
you know what I'm
about
saying?
yourself.
A little, you know,
It's all about
charisma.
moderation.
Definitely, and
Exactly.
balance. So what I
Balance.
was thinking is that it's one thing to expand your vocabulary,
Yes.
learn how to use the words in context and stuff.
Yes.
Your vernacular and your language,
Yes.
it needs to work for you. It don't need to be something that you are processing as it come out. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you can't do it naturally, don't do it.
Exactly.
But I do think that I did have a moment one time. I think I was in high school and I was getting a lot of sports awards. And this wasn't a code switching moment, but it was kind of a moment, like you said, it was a traumatic moment where you feel like, damn, they really don't see my intellect unless I present it to them. You know what I'm saying? They really just see, you know,
And it's the
another
8-second rule.
black dude, right?
It's the 8-second rule. When people see you in 8 seconds, they could make a judgment of who you are. So in 8 seconds, you're trying to, you know, have this perception about yourself, and the other person perceive whatever they perceive. So in that 8 seconds, I feel like when you meet a person, the best thing to do is be authentic. Be appropriate for the environment and for the setting, but always be who you are, because that's the best way to be. Because if you don't, then you're going to either be confused, you're going to go through some type of identity crisis, you know, later on, and you're not able to really give who you are. You know what I'm saying? It takes away, like I said, from the diversity. It takes away from, okay, if I'm an organization and I want to hire 10 blacks, I want to hire 20 whites, and I want to hire, you know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of people do that. And they play with the numbers with, you know, when it comes to races. You don't want to show up as somebody that you're not, and then later on down the line, they find out that that is not who you are.
Yeah.
Just like in the clip that you guys see, you see how the girl is able to switch her tone, she able to switch certain things. And another thing, code switching is not only about your language, it's about the way that you're expressing yourself, the way that you're coming off. You may express yourself in a tone that is like totally not you. You know what I mean? You may be feeling some type of way, but since you want to come off as this person, or you want to make another person comfortable, you're switching your tone. You're dumbing yourself down. You're watering yourself down, and that to me is always a no-no.
Yeah, I could say too, one thing that I have found as a benefit in my profession is that the best thing you could be with a client is authentic. And they can definitely tell when you're not being authentic.
Definitely.
So I think whatever you do, you might be a mental health therapist, you might be a barber, you might be a teacher, you might be whatever it is that you do. Even if you feel like you have to be politically correct sometimes and code switch, you got to remember to be true and be authentic to who you are.
Man, what? Because I done tried that. I tried code switching with my clients. They did not appreciate it, okay? They was looking at me like a probation officer. I was calling them like, hey, can we, what? They clicked just because people want people they can relate to nowadays. This is 2021. People want to be relatable to you. So if I'm around you, I want to feel comfortable. I want to feel like you can understand where I'm coming from. I want to feel, you know what I'm saying, where you coming from as well. But if you're coming off a certain type of way, it's making me feel like I have to code switch. Because a lot of times you can come off so strong to the point where the other person code switch. And now the frequency, everything is just off balance. So I learned that with my clients is just be you. To just, they like that. They love that. Actually.
One thing, and I want to develop my point on preparation. Because I feel like preparation will keep you from having to feel that pressure to code switch. You know what I'm saying? The more you prepare, the more confident you get. And the more confident you get, the more you feel like who you are will contribute something to the room that wouldn't be there otherwise. You know what I'm saying? So it's like a lack of self-confidence, a lack of self-awareness, a lack of who you are as a person, groundedness allows you to be a chameleon. And just like take on the personality of whoever you interacting with.
Exactly.
And people can feel that.
Definitely. So how are we gonna rewire the audience? How have we been personally rewired about code switching? I guess I could start. One thing that I was kind of confronted with when I was thinking about code switching as a topic in general is how it impacted my life. How I had to code switch at times in professional environments, but more so in a way that you wouldn't think about how I had to code switch with my own people to try to fit in at times. But like my brother said, the older I get and the more comfortable I get in my skin, I can tell better when I'm going outside of myself. For whatever reason it is, if it's code switching or if it's anything else, I could tell when this ain't me, man. I need to get back to being me. And when you start feeling that way, that's when you need to go on and go back to the drawing board. So, yeah, man, the code switching thing has impacted my life, just like everybody else. But I think as long as you keep in mind who you are and don't forget that, you can code switch within your spectrum.
Yes, and use code switching as a skill. And like you said, if you don't know how to do it, then don't do it. The best way and the best approach will just be yourself and be authentic.
My rewired through the code switching thing honestly was just putting some context behind the way I feel like a lot of people feel. Like they have to live two different lives, you know what I mean? And I think W.E.B. Du Bois kind of put some words to it. I feel like a lot of people felt that way but didn't have no words, you know what I'm saying, to express it. And another thing too is just focusing on what I can do in order not to have to feel that pressure, which is, like I said, preparation and confidence. So if you have those things and you prepare to no end, then you feel like what you bring to the table is enough.
I got one other thing that will help.
What?
And I'm not pushing everybody in this direction, but entrepreneurship allows you to be yourself. As long as you're working for somebody else.
Ooh, say that.
You might have to code switch. I don't care
might.
how.
There's no might. I can guarantee you, anybody that ever works for somebody, you code switch.
Right. Oh, yeah, definitely. You pushing the agenda they want you to push.
Yeah. Exactly. I was working at a place that shall remain nameless. And I said something that was politically incorrect, but in this room, I'm sure everybody would agree. Right. I said, I think it was, man, because we was talking about my mental health clients. And I was like, well, the apple don't fall far from the tree. We need to work more with the parents because that's where the mental health issues come from or originate. this from the parents because I was working with kids at the time exclusively.
Right.
And I said, man, mental health kids have mental health parents.
Uh-huh.
I ain't think nothing of it,
What
but
was
it
that?
was politically incorrect. And I got called into the office and was like, Mr. Tepper, you're in a leadership role. You can't say things like that.
But you was just basically voicing your opinion.
Yeah, exactly. I was, it's you can say that, but you can't say it like
Exactly.
that. Yeah.
But different settings, you'll learn. You know what I'm saying? We learn how to adapt and how to be a chameleon with this thing. So that's why I said it's a skill. It comes with being able to learn different cultures and be competent in what exactly is going on in the world. And when you get in those settings, like they say, if you in Rome, do as the Romans do.
Definitely.
And that's just how it goes.
You gotta be bilingual in a sense.
And that's a skill. I love it. But like I said,